For future use, if you want to, or if you don't know this already, you can use this share file, and I'm just going to go there. Just going to click into it, and I want to just show you, make you aware of the share file. You can have access to the share file, and I'm just going to, unfortunately, you won't see the first page now, but what will come up is a Nectari Sage Enterprise Intelligence screen, and with your name and your password, and you can sign in. And then there's a register button. You click on the register button. It's a once-off. Just complete the form. And from there, you will be able to come and download the different packages or templates for SEI. So if I just go to the templates here quickly in the, in the package itself, you will notice that we've got up to, or as far back as version 9.2. If you do require older versions or prior versions, please drop me a mail, drop Gareth a mail if you can't get hold of me or if it's very urgent, and we will certainly assist you and point you in the right direction to get an older version. Just want to get back to my PowerPoint. Right. SEI is available for Intact under the brand name Nectari. Okay, please be aware of that. Just to quickly jump back into my templates here, or into my shared drive here, just to show you. I just go back to the folder. Here's my templates and my official templates. Very important to know this, guys. So if I come to this version here at the bottom, the latest and greatest version, you will notice we've even got for evolution. And Gareth did say, I don't know why he said I'm safe for as from the 1st of April, but it's actually available already. So there's for evolution, for Intact, and of course the UDM, which I will talk about a little bit later on. Just to go back. Then we've got, of course, an out-of-the-box migration template for customers migrating from Sage 300 and X3 to Intact. This is very exciting. And just to quickly show you, if you want this, Andrew, I will also send this with the, I know you are recording this, but I will also send this PDF to you as well. Please feel free to let me know if anybody would be interested in this, migrating from Sage 3 or from X3 or Sage 300 to Intact. Okay. Then we've of course got, this is just the marketplace for Intact. I'm not going to go to this link. As I said earlier on, we do have, I've got all these links in a special place for you all that you can keep when you need it. And then the e-learning, very important. Don't know if anyone is aware of this, but we have got e-learning on my Shopify now. So if I just click on this link over here, just to quickly show you. And these links are all, of course, integrated. What type of course do you want to do? End user course. This is for your end users as well, or for your clients as well. You want to do the UDM administration. So if I click on the end user, for example, just so you have an idea, here's the pricing. The dates are here. Don't pay too much attention on the dates. If any of your clients or yourself are interested in any of these courses, let us know. Let me know, and we will arrange for you to have the training off the platform. And of course, you could also have courses and get your examinations here. So the courses could be with exams or without exams. Please just follow the links and have a look and let us know if any of you guys are interested. Okay, so the next thing that I want to go into is also very important, is the UDM. I'm not sure how many of you guys know about the UDM, but when I show a little bit of the UDM later on, I'll discuss that again. But just so that you know, this is also a very nice link that you could perhaps share with your clients just to show them. So the UDM is going to enhance your financials, your sales, CRM, out of the box reports, dashboards that you can do. So if I just quickly come to finance, for example, and the UDM templates are for all the ERPs that you see over here, and they are for free. So you would just need to map and migrate things and do all the necessary stuff so that you can do and have all these beautiful dashboards, reporting, etc., all these things available. There are a lot. Income statements out of the box in a specific way and format that your client needs it. So that's the UDM. Nice to show your client. Okay. Right, let's have a look at the installation. Now, Andrew asked me just to touch on the installation as well as the upgrade. This could be daunting. Again, I'm not sure how many of you know the installation methodology, or have even installed SEI or have done an upgrade. But let's just quickly walk through this. Again, here's another link on the help, online help. So if I click on online help here we go. It will take you to this screen, and I'm just going to click on translate here because it's in French. There we go. Need it another time. There we go. And this is the latest version, by the way, 2021 R2.2. So any information that you want, where do you find this? You don't have to necessarily use this link. If you are in SEI, just going to pop into SEI quickly, you can find under About Online Help, and it will take you to the same URL. Okay, all good with that? So in here, you will find a lot of information. In fact, you don't have to print any documentation. You can simply just use your online help. If you need, again, any versions prior to these, please let us know, and I will find information if you need information. I'm just going to go to the Nectari life cycle over here just to show you. This is for those who don't know. If you want to know what is supported or what is still supported, as you can see, this is the latest version, and it will be supported until next year, 2023. Goes right down, and this is where it all started. Hopefully, none of you've got clients still running on anything below 8.0, because then they're really missing out on some marvelous ideas and marvelous things that SEI can give you, because this is such old versions. Right, let's talk about the installation. So on the installation side, first things first, you have to come and have a look at the system and server requirements. This is something that you have to sit with your client and you need to tell them this. Very important. Don't go away without looking at understanding the architecture. So what type of client are we looking at? Is it a client that's got a small site? It's a medium site. What are the requirements? Everything is right here. Something else to also consider that's very critical as well is the preliminary configuration. So the preliminary configuration is what happens in IIS. What do I need to set up? What tick boxes do I need to tick prior to installing SEI? .NET framework. For this version and 2 versions prior to this, 4.8, .NETwork 4.8 is required. Please keep in mind that you could perhaps install 4.8 prior to the installation, else when you install it, SEI, the application, will stop you and say that 4.8 is necessary and a server reboot will be required. Your SS configuration, everything is here. Your Visual C++, this is for Excel, for the add-in. So very important things to keep in mind, ja. Something else that's also quite important and that I'd like for you to remember, don't have to worry, you don't have to make any notes. I will certainly give you the PowerPoint, is a list of default ports. So for the web client, as you can see, it's 81. However, I do understand and I know that there are many clients, X3 clients, that do not use port 81, the default port. So when it comes to the installation, you will then just obviously change it. These are simply default ports. Please make sure if you are going to use the default ports, make sure that they are available and ready to be used. Okay, next thing, the installation. So before I look at this slide and before we discuss this slide, I just quickly want to go back to our installation packages over here. And let me just go up a little bit. Right, so in the packages, the official packages, come over here just to show you. These are the installations. Not all need to be installed. One of them that you don't have to, I don't know if there's any Sage 300 business partners here, but I believe these are only X3 business partners and perhaps Intact business partners. This is only for Sage 300. You don't need to install the dictionary. So the dictionary is just a tool that is going to give you the description of your fields. The rest of these you can install. Maybe you're not interested in the data sync. I'll tell you now what the data sync is. Let's have a look at what needs to be installed in a very specific sequence. And there's only really 2 modules that need to be installed in a specific sequence. So I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint. What do we need to install first? Is our SEI license server. Guys, so this is a small application that's going to create a small database in SQL. We're talking about SQL at this point, And SEI will store session and license information in the BI license database. So you will see that once you install that, it will be called BI license. The next thing that you would have to install straight afterwards is the SEI Central Point, a SQL Server, and Oracle. This is very important. You have to install the Central Point server before you can install this job over here, which is the web client. This is going to create a SEI database and the Central Point folder path. Absolutely critical. And I'll come back to this, the Central Point server later on again. Thereafterwards, you don't need to install 3, 4, 5 as per my screenshot. You don't have to do that. You can go and install the web client first if you want to, the web application and the distribution. Please just be aware again, without the Central Point server, you are not going to be able to install the web client. Okay, so the web client is going to give you the distribution, the BI license service, and it is probably the biggest installation. Not big, but the biggest of all of them. Your OLAP for SQL Server, this is going to allow you and also install a database in SQL, and it is also going to have a folder that's going to be sitting in the same place as your Central Point configuration path. Right, it is important to install the OLAP because you do get OLAP cubes for free. Okay, then we've got the data sync. This is pretty new. This is for those people that want to add different sources like Oracle, Salesforce into a data warehouse. For Sage 300, they use this perhaps for consolidation. We've got quite a few US clients that use running on Sage 300 and using the data sync for multiple companies and instead of buying the GL consolidations. The next one is very important as well. If your client is going to want to use the Excel add-in, then you would need to install the application on every workstation that wants to use it. Please be aware of the following. You notice that it says Win32 or 64. This relates to your operating system. So if you're going to install, most of us install Win64 operating system.
Smooth.
Sorry. Did somebody ask something?
No, someone was unmuted.
Okay, can I carry on?
Yes.
Okay. So for Excel,
Teresa, you've been muted.
oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm muted. I did not hear that. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm just going to go 2 steps back, if that's okay. I said the data sync. So the data sync is for extra different data sources that you maybe want to combine. For Sage 300, they use this normally for consolidation. Okay. Then for Excel, your Excel add-in, again, be very wary when you install this. Be vigilant. Make sure, first of all, does my client, what bit of Office are they using? Because you're going to install perhaps 64-bit, operating system 64-bit. However, your Office might be 32-bit. So just be careful to choose the correct one. If you don't, you're going to have to reinstall. Right, then the last point over here is your Web Central Point configurator. The Web Central Point configurator is very necessary. This is where you will verify your SEI database, your SMTP server for emailing. If you are making changes to your SQL database, this is where you can also update the changes. Okay. Right, some common mistakes during installation. Firstly, not checking prerequisites prior to installation. If you don't do it, you're going to pull your hair out. Your installation's not going to run through. The ports. Have you made provision? Are these ports available? Can they be used? If you don't, again, it's going to be a nightmare. Here's a good one. I laugh about this, but this actually happened to me just the other day. I needed to quickly install, quickly upgrade. And when I say quickly upgrade, because it's really quick to upgrade. And I made a mistake and I decided to let's do a clean installation. When you copy and paste your central point after the installation and you by accident forget a character, it's going to be a problem. Please be aware of that. Watch your work. Something else that people seem to forget as well is not verifying your databases in the central point configurator before accessing your web client for the first time after installation. Make sure, guys, to validate your data sources, okay, your SEI database and your BI license. If you make any changes or IT come and put in the SMTP server address information here, make sure to update the configuration as well. If it happens afterwards, come back and do that. If I can just quickly go back one step and just to make you aware of the central point configurator port. In the older versions, prior to 8.2 and prior, the port there was port 83. It is now 8133. Please be aware of that. Okay. Some more common mistakes during installation is the data schema name. When you start creating or when you up and running, you're in your web client and you now want to configure your data sources. If you make a mistake over here, uppercase, where it's supposed to be uppercase, you're putting it at a lowercase, you forget a full stop, underscore, that sort of thing, it's going to be a problem. Please be aware of that. Another thing, those folks using the UDM cubes, if it's in the incorrect sequence, you are going to have a problem. you have to build first the first one, which is the staging one, then the second one, which is the dimension cube, build it first, and then the third one, which is the UDM module cube. Thereafter, you do 1, 2, 3 loading again. Okay, please be aware that documentation is definitely available for this. Installing the incorrect Excel version. Instead of a 32-bit or instead of a 64-bit Office, you go and install 32-bit. Please watch out for this. I have seen huge drama around this after the whole installation's been done. Next thing is best practice is always, like I said, is always to just check what Office bit is on the workstation. Okay, upgrading. This could be a nightmare for many people. It really isn't, guys. Upgrading SEI is very easy. I'm not going to lie. I've done a few, but saying that, if you do not do the following, you can have a testing environment if you want to. The manual even suggests that. All depends on your client. First and foremost, back up the central point folder. I didn't put it in here, but you could also, the version that they're on, the installation files, you can also back that up. The SEI database in SQL, back it up. The SEI cube, back it up. Make sure that those are backed up. Check if the .NET Framework 4.8 is installed. Like I said, remember a reboot will be required when you install the web client application. So then it's going to stop you and say it requires 4.8, but it's going to do a reboot. Tell your client, make sure perhaps to have it pre-installed. Make sure to have the SQL username and password, or if the IT guy or system administration person is going to sit with you, but be sure to have those things. Check if necessary ports are available. Again, if your client is a client that was on a very old version, like the next point there, as you can see, from version 8, because in version 8, it was different. It was different ports. Everything was different. Make sure that when you upgrade, that those ports are there available, that you don't sit and waste time trying to find the ports or trying to see which ports are available. When you're upgrading from version 8, you first have to go from version 8 to 8.2. Thereafter, you can jump to the latest version. Okay, that's a very important point to remember. Something else is to release the SEI license via the web. Just copy that license and put it in Notepad. I'm just going to quickly jump into SEI just so that I can show you, make you aware of where this is sitting. So in SEI, under administration, here by the license, manage licenses. So this is now an upgrade. I then copy my serial number there, put it in a safe place. Or if your client has it already in a safe place, that's also fine. But I just do this. And I then release the license. It's going to kick you out. And then after the installation, you can simply just copy and paste the serial in again. And you'll be good to go. Right. What applications to uninstall? Now, guys, this is super important. The only applications to uninstall would be the SEI client, which is this thing called the SEI server, Win64. This is the web client application. Okay, not the central point server. When you install the central point server, it installs a database. You never, ever delete or uninstall the central point server. Okay, we've already backed up our databases. All you now need to do is the application part needs to be uninstalled, the old version. The central point configurator, uninstall the old version. Your SEI Excel add-in, uninstall. Again, leave the SEI databases intact where they are in SQL. On that note, are there any questions that anybody would like to raise right now, or you want to wait?
Sorry, Tess.
Yes.
Can
Hi,
you?
Denson.
Hi, hi, Teresa. There's a screenshot on the UDM installation. You had those #1, #2, #3. It
Yes.
never used to be there. If you can
Yes.
please, yeah, just show that screenshot and then
Right.
yeah, and then take us to UDM
Okay.
itself, if you have,
So
just to show people what that
absolutely.
refers
Thank
to.
you, Denson. Thanks for that. I'm going to quickly jump back to SEI. So once you have imported your additional templates. So when I say additional templates, guys, just one more step back. Sorry about this, but it's important. If I go back to my packages and if I go back to my folders and yeah, in my official templates, you've got, and these templates are for all ERP systems. This is the universal database model. And this is what it's referring to. Once you've imported these templates, and I'll come back to SEI over here. Sorry about that. It will be sitting here. And now you will see, there we go. We've got staging. So all the number ones, I'm just going to put them over here, are my staging ones. Okay. Those are the first ones that need to be built. Okay. They are staging, only for staging, meaning I've installed it now, my UDM or the templates, I've installed it. However, nothing is built. They're still lying around like loose Lego pieces. Then the next one that needs to be done or built is the second one. So this is much better in this version and the prior version, where it actually gives you the numbers, because now you know number one first, then number two. And this is the UDM dimension. Then number three, show you. Okay, and this one, the number 3 UDM, is the bigger, they are the biggest ones. As you can see, this is the financial, the forecast, the inventory, and this might take a little bit longer, but not building, but when you load it. So when it comes to loading, it would also be good practice or best practice to do the last bit one at a time, especially if your client's data is very large. Okay, Denson, does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you, Teresa.
Thanks for bringing that up, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Not yet? Okay, I assume not yet. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at how to add fields. Now, when I say let's have a look at how to add fields, I'm going to show you and make you aware of some of the new features in this version as well as the prior one just before this, or actually 2 versions before this version. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into SEI and I'm going to go to the home and I'm just going to collapse that, close that. Now, first and foremost, SEI allows real-time as well as a data warehouse. Everything you see here is for free or is part and parcel of your purchase or your client's purchase. Yeah, you see the UDM, okay, Universal Database Model or data model, sorry. This is a cube or cubes rather. Look at this, a huge amount. I'll go through some of them in a minute, as well as your OLAP cube. Everything else is real time. So if you want to run a report right now, after transactions being done in X3, you can do so. If you want to use the cubes, the UDM, I'll tell you in a minute what we use the UDM specifically for. Then that will require you to build it in the OLAP manager. Again, you do not pay extra for that, for the templates. Your client will start paying obviously on installation, configuration, that sort of thing, building reports. Now, with the UDM, coming back to the UDM, why do we need the UDM? As we all know, our reports, all reports, income statements, balance sheets, maybe trial balances, cash flows, for all clients, they look, and the feel and the look is very specific. For that reason, we give you the opportunity to load these staging blocks, then map them to the way that your client need to see their income statement, their balance sheet, how do they need to see it? And from there, you will have, here's a report, for example, and I'll just leave it with this criteria. So instead of going into Excel and performing a task, something similar to this, where I have to say this plus this, cost of sales plus a discount is going to give me gross margin, whatever. Just using examples here. Okay, so the way that they need to see their accounts and their ranges, it could be done for them by simply doing the account mapping. Now, I did the account mapping with Alfred the other day, and it was not difficult. Alfred, I'm sure you can answer this. You can do this by yourself now. So it's not a difficult task to do at all. Once the mapping is done, guys, you have the ability and you have the access to many views here, okay, as well as dashboards. I'll go to dashboards now. Reports. Here's a balance sheet, for example. Let it just run out. I just want to change this date to 2018 because I see there's nice data in 2018. Okay. You don't want to sit in Excel and copy paste and do all sorts of funny things to get a proper layout like this. That's what the UDM is going to do. Right, dashboards. You go to your dashboards. Under UDM, you now have, look at all these dashboards. For CRM, for accounts payable, for accounts receivable. Just to quickly run one of these as well, just so that you have a nice idea. For those people who have never seen this. And out of the box, these are all out of the box. Nothing has been added. No data models has been configured or new ones being added. No cubes has been done. This is all out of the box. Let this just run out. It is a little bit large. Sorry about that. And maybe let me just put in a filter. Oh, there's already a filter. There we go. The information is pulling through now. You can do that. While this is running, also just want to quickly go back to my data models and views and just mention something else. For the UDM, you could also do your sales forecast. You want to set up sales forecasts. Configure it. How do you want to configure it? You can configure it by month, by week. I just collapse this a little bit. By quarter. What else can you do? You can also import your price lists using the UDM. Price list entry and update it. Okay, pretty nifty. What else can you do? You want to do your normal budgets. You can do your normal budgets. So a huge amount of things that you can do and make your client's life easier. I think the forecast is probably one of the top things that stand out for me. And there we go. Here's a dashboard that's run out. Those who want to see, I'm just going to quickly go back. I just wanted to mention that bit to you guys. Right. So these are some views and reports and dashboards. I'm going to just close this. If this is not what your client wants, their requirements would not be the UDM or the OLAP cube. Let's go and have a look at some more interesting things like in sales. This is now real time, so it doesn't look at cubes. Invoice by customer. I'm just going to run it as is. I'm not going to put in any criteria. And what we have here, expand this a little bit so everybody can see nicely, is we have got 3 years of information here. And I'm just going to quickly lock it down on 2017. So I want a quick filter or instant filter. Just highlight it until it's blue. Okay, click on the plus sign to add the filter. Now let's have a look at what's going on here. Oh, just too much happening here still. Let's see, I want to see it for a couple of customers. Let's see the first 2 customers. Puts in another filter. Now, if I want to, which I'm going to do just now, I can expand everything, but let's add some fields. So if I want to add fields, I just come to the side over here and go to my dimensions and measures. And let's have a look at what's new. So we've got something now, and let's just quickly see. There's stock here under invoice. Oh, that's French, actually. I want to see, put in another measure. We've got something that I'm going to show you later. I'll pull some of this information in later, but just to show you, these are the available fields. You can see descriptions. If I expand it even more, customer, I can now drag and drop information in there. If you don't want to scroll through everything to try and find something that you want to add in, you can simply just start typing it in. Let's say hyperlink. Maybe I want to put in a product hyperlink. You can put in a product hyperlink. As you can see, they've done that as well. That's not that I want to have, that's not that I want. I want an image. Okay, so perhaps I want to see the product itself. I'm just going to stick this, as you can see, I'm dragging and dropping it next to product code. And what happens now is I actually have an image of the actual product. I'll keep on drilling, or alternatively, I can just right click on the very last field there in the groups and say expand. And you will now see the images of these products in your view or your report. There we go. So if I mouse over it, lovely bicycle we have there. There we go. We've got some other items here. Don't know why these are all mixed. It's probably just to show you guys when we do demos. And of course, you can export this. Again, any other fields that you require to report off, you can bring in. If you want to pivot it, you can even pivot it. For those who don't know, maybe you want to pivot it by period or by site. Let's type in site. In site, there's the site code. I want to see it by site. Oops, I didn't drag it in properly. There we go. And now what it's going to do is it's going to give you for 2017 for these customers that's filtered for each site. There we go. All right, you don't want it like that. Maybe you don't want the year there anymore. You can just drag and drop it in like that. So that is how easy it is to use SEI. Next thing though, is these fields that you see over here, which are measures and dimensions. Most of you would know that. Okay, where do they come from? This is called, in the old days, it used to be called a process. Okay, it is now called a data model. So if I want to go and modify a data model, the process, maybe add another view or a table or additional fields, or go and do calculations, whatever the case might be, I simply hover over the data model, right click and say design data model, meaning it's going to take me to that data model. So over here is my data model. I've already got it open. And you guys will notice that not as pretty as the front end, but this is where all my back-end information is stored. Okay, so this isn't a training session, but just so that you know, here's all my fields, all the ones in bold is obviously the ones that's already sitting there. So if I click on, or not this one is a calculated one, for example there, and it goes and shows me where it's pulling from. Okay, if you want to add more fields, whichever table or view from, let's go to the master, item masters. Maybe I want a particular field over here. I'm just going to choose any one, it doesn't matter. Let's say that one. It will then, by double clicking the field, it goes and puts the field in as a column. Then that column can be identified, just do that, can then be identified as a measure. What is it? A measure, dimension. Is it a dimension data? Is it a calculation? Is it description data? What is it? Right, and then of course you can put in calculations. Now something brand new that I want to make you all aware of is something called our Windows function. So our Windows function is for running totals. You want to add ranking or running totals. I must be honest with you guys, I haven't messed around with this option at all. I just simply haven't had an opportunity, but I have had a look at it. And what I'm giving you guys here as well is, let me just see where I have put that. Oh, sorry, it's over here, my bad. And I will also make this PowerPoint slide available, the Windows function. So yeah, it explains to you, it's a beautiful PowerPoint, it explains to you what it's for. It gives you beautiful examples. I landed up on this one, the running total one. But if I go right from the beginning, just so you can have a quick look. And again, I will make it available. Okay. Lags and leads. But I think this has also been a one of the enhancements that a lot of people have been waiting for. Okay. Any questions? Sorry, is there a question? No?
Teresa, I think you can go ahead. What we're seeing here, people are just asking about recording.
Is asking about the recording. Okay.
No, it's fine. We're gonna put the recording on our YouTube channel. There are no questions directly. No questions about what you're showing us. You may continue.
All right. Okay, well, I'm nearly finished anyways. So the next thing I just want to discuss is, we've discussed that. So I just want to quickly move that out of the way. Is the important and helpful links that I have just shown you guys. Just again, you don't want to sit and wait for somebody after you've mailed them. It could be Denson, or it could be myself even, or one of the guys from Nectari themselves. Please, guys, go and register so that you have the ability to download your templates and your applications for your clients yourself. Here's your intact marketing place. I've put this in here as well. Your e-learning, very important. Please have a look at this. Online help. Again, the online help you will find in SEI as well as from version 9. The online help is as what I've shown you already. But if you want this link, then you've also got the UDM, this UDM link that I've given you. And that's it. Any questions? Please go right ahead.
Hi, Teresa.
Okay.
Hi, Samuel.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. Just a quick one. I just want to know, what are some of the issues that could prevent you from properly importing the SEI templates? I tried some time ago, I had some HTTP errors, and I want to know if it's any recurrent issue that is known to Tangerine.
Well, you're going to have to give me the actual error message, Samuel. If you give me the actual error message, I can go and have a look. I can look it up. But it could be a whole range of things. So if you're saying after you've imported your templates, it could be a simple situation, and I'm just quickly going to go and pop in there so you can see what I mean. It could be a situation where under your data sources, okay, in your data sources, this perhaps has not been set up correctly. So your schema name is not correct. So I have seen this. In fact, last week, somebody approached me or contacted me and said, we've installed everything. We've imported our Sage 300 client. We've imported everything. However, after the import of the template, when we come and run our reports over here, it just gives us a very ugly error. So the first place to look, Samuel, would be to see, did you actually configure it correctly over here? Let me just, sorry, a second. Just want to make this a tiny bit smaller. There we go. Can you see?
Yes.
So if you've made a mistake, yeah, like I said earlier on, you've left out a D there where it says seed, or you've made it all lowercase. You left out a full stop. You left out the underscore. You forgot to say that this SEI cube is supposed to be used as a data warehouse schema. We have a problem. So that's a place to start. If you've got a connection problem, I need to know what is the connection problem. So you might have the connection problem, obviously, prior to installing the templates. When it comes to the cube, by the way, if you try and run the cubes and you get stopped and it gives you a nasty error, it could be that you don't have rights to the cube, to the actual folder. Perhaps it's a good practice also to restart your services, your BI services, your local services. X3 could be playing around and it could stop your services. Something might be stopping your services. Another error message, by the way, that comes up, Samuel, and the rest of people, is when you go into into SEI, you might get an error where it says endpoint cannot be found. Denson, you are very familiar with this error. I'm very sure of this because I've also seen it many times. Yeah. This means that the service, BI service, is not running. You need to run the service, restart the service. Okay. Does that answer your question a little bit at least? But I'm sure you're going to email me your error message that you've got, Samuel.
Yes, it helps a lot. And then do we have a channel to send our support logs directly to Nectari, or we always have to go through Sage?
At this point, yes, please. Please, unless you have made other arrangements prior to my knowledge with Tangerine or Nectari, but I am in South Africa, and this is why I've also been hired, is because of the time difference. So if you guys come across problems and you don't want to wait for the guys, and I can assist, I certainly will, but I am encouraging you to log your issues the way that you always log it. Okay?
Okay, thank you. And lastly, I see your database schema for the SEI cube is Nectari cube. By default, it's SEI cube. How do you rename it?
So these guys, when they did the installation, so we've got, remember, I don't know if you remember, but when I told you about Intact is now under Nectari. Oh. So that means that it's going to give you Nectari cube. It's just going to be called Nectari. Okay. Nice of you to pick that up.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Teresa,
yes.
We have got two more questions. I don't know whether you have enough time to answer. Okay, the other one is from Karabo. She's saying, what would cause the Excel reports linked to the add-in to run slower on user machines? So, yeah. And then maybe let me give you the other one as well, from Rian. Are there any workarounds that can be applied to new versions of SEI to have it embedded in X3 without SSL?
Okay, so not 100% sure about the very last one without SSL. I'm going to, Rian, can you just drop me a mail on that one so I don't forget the question, if you don't mind? And then I will actually reply to everyone on that. I just want to double make sure on that. Then to answer the Karabo's question, can you just repeat that, Andrew? You asked what makes some reports
Okay,
slow.
so she's experiencing the reports, the Excel reports are running slow on user machines. I guess these are PCs when they're linked to the add-in.
All right. So you can, Karabo, I assume you can certainly see the difference on different machines or different workstations. So that will definitely be related to the workstation itself. Again, what type of, is it a mix and match of workstations? Did you install some of them Office 32-bit? Are they all 64-bit? What is the situation? So that's the first thing that I need to know. Then the condition of the actual laptop. How big are the reports? Is it a massive sales report? Is it cashing in? You got to give me a little bit more detail on that.
Okay. Right. So I think those are some of the questions that are coming through, and I'm also looking at the time. The question, I think maybe this one you'll probably be able to just post. I think we can put it on, say, is there like an upgrade procedure document that you have? An upgrade procedure document that can retain custom reports from prior version. You don't have to answer it now since time is not on our side. So if you can maybe just think about it, and then maybe come back and with an answer, and then we can post it on Sage City and also on the YouTube channel when we post the video.
Okay, great. But I could quickly answer that question, just so that you guys know, when you upgrade, and I'm very sorry I did not mention this, but when you do an upgrade and after you go into the web client or into the web and you enter or copy and paste your serial number in again after you released it and we're busy with the upgrade, you will be stopped and it will say, SEI will say, you are busy upgrading. All old modules will be upgraded. I know this was not the question, but I just wanted to mention that as well. So if you had any old cubes from older versions sitting there, it will be upgraded. If you've got reports that you have created and modified, it's not a problem to run if this relates to your actual question, but everything will be upgraded. If you want to add additional, maybe it was a version 8.2 and you're now on version 2.2, the latest version, and you never had the UDM and you never had the cubes, and there are a whole bunch of new templates, you can simply go and import the templates and it will skip the ones that's already there from the old version and it will just add the new ones. Okay, just so that you know.
All right. Okay. All right. So thank you, guys. We have posted the survey on the chat. If you can just take a couple of minutes to complete it. We want to find out what you think about today's session and also what you would like us to cover in the future sessions. I just want to take this opportunity to wish or to thank Teresa for taking the time. And also we'll look at the response. If there is a demand, then we will probably ask you for another follow-up session as well. I see the numbers are quite encouraging. We had over 90 people on this connection.
Well done. Thank you, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. You've got my email address, guys. I'm going to leave it here and or get it from Andrew. Please drop me mails and I will certainly answer them and put them, give them to Andrew to put on Sage City.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. You do take care, and then hopefully we'll see you again in our next webinar. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
defenders. Thanks, Teresa.
everyone. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Teresa.
Yes.
Teresa, that's Daniel. It's been a very long time.
Yes, Daniel, how are you?
I'm fine, I'm fine. How is it?
Good. All good, all good.
Okay.